So one of the problems I've seen across companies I've worked is like very smart people like coming from elite colleges, or even like very smart people not coming from elite colleges, but they have the aptitude and hunger, and they struggle a lot. So they don't struggle much with cracking the PM interview, but they struggle a lot when they get to do the job in their real lives.
Let's keep moving and would love to know, right? One of the major challenge any person faces starting a company is coming out of that job mindset and the salary mindset,
Yeah.
right? Every month you get salary and salary, and then at one point of the time, like, when do I even start, right? What is that
Yeah.
point? So for your,
Yeah.
like, how did you even decide that, okay, this is the point, I don't need that monthly salary, and this is, I leave my job and start up something my own? How did it happen? And would love to understand how did you plan around it?
Yeah, so I'll definitely share my sort of take
Yeah.
on this. So I have seen like people starting in multiple ways. Like no two starting stories are the same. There are
Yeah.
people who came out of college and they are my friends. And 2, 3 years out of college, they didn't know what they were signing up for, and they just started. They raised a fund
Hmm.
around, and then it was like just for the last 10 years they have been trying to grow, 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 grow. Some of them have succeeded, some of them failed, right? So I feel some many startups,
Hmm.
which is usually done by freshers, are done out of ignorance, right? But I feel the audience that will be listening to this is, has been used to like that salary that we are talking about. So let me talk a little bit around that. And I had this big problem in my head because, like I told you, I come from a very small place. I had my own set of responsibilities and all. And if you come from a like lower middle class sort of background, you also tend to be very risk averse, because you have seen like you have seen what risks feels like, right? You have seen. So you don't want to take big risks in the sense that they can actually sort of hurt your financial security and all that. uh, so there are only two ways then, like for salaried people there are two ways to what I feel is there are two ways to sort of build a company. One is like building it very slowly, which I did. So I don't think PM Curve started in 2023 when I left, 2022 when I left an academy, right? I think it started in 2019 when I launched Growth Catalyst. So Growth Catalyst was born out of the idea that there is a newsletter that should talk about growth, and growth is something that I'm very interested in. And a lot of people don't believe when I tell them that it was actually I started it because I wanted to solidify my learning around growth. It was not to tell the world, okay, this is how you should do growth, right? So Growth Catalyst, but at the same time the idea was like I kept saying this, and I've been saying this for last there are two things I've kept saying like throughout my career. First was like, for the first 10 years of my career I'm only going to optimize on learning, because 10%, 20%, 30% salary here and there, it does not matter. I've taken salary cuts when moving across jobs, right? And not because of lack of choice, but because like this was the right role. So that was the first thing. The second thing was I heard this from Nawal, who was talking about like four kinds of luck. People should go and like we can put a link in the sort of description, and people can go and listen to that. But it's about like luck happens in various ways. There is blind luck, there is like when preparation meets opportunity and all, but then there is a fourth kind of luck, which is if you become very good at something, it will create its own luck. And that is what means creating your own luck. If you become the best scuba diver, somebody who is looking for some shipwreck where there could be a lot of money will come to you, because you are the best scuba diver in the world, right? It's just that people should know that you are the best or one of the best scuba divers in the world. So the idea was like, if I can become very good at this craft, possibly like this will create its own luck, right? And Growth Catalyst was around that learning and sort of getting to know people and like getting people. And then Tech Simplified. You see all this time together now. So Growth Catalyst gave a distribution of 10,000 subscribers, free subscribers. Tech Simplified has sold 10,000 plus copies, hard copies in India. I'm not counting pirated and all. So it's a paid sort of 10,000 subscribers, I would say. And then there is PMCurve, where like I have 500 PMs who are paying, I think, a big amount, like 30, 40,000 rupees for a course. So it is very organic. So I would say like I did a very slow, I didn't know when I was starting, like I'm going to build this, but it was a very slow journey to start up, which is why like after an academy, when I was thinking, where should I go next, right? So it was literally basically like I'll give you the situation. We were new parents. So it was like our daughter was like 3 months old. My wife, she's also from IIT Kharagpur. She had to move back to her job in like after the maternity leave ends. And I was like, it won't happen that you're not going back to the job and taking 3 more months, right? I like we have to get you back to the job so that like you get happier, right? And I don't have that guilt that, oh, because we had a kid, like she's now taking some more time off, right? So these situations were there, and then came like, should I go somewhere else because I have exhausted that 10 years of learning, or should I build something that I anyway plan to build someday, right? And from that discussion we said ki, okay, I'm going to sort of build PMCurve. It was like it was like even like my last day at an academy was not over, and I just created a website, and I said ki, you folks can just sort of start applying and all that. So it was like day -5, -6 when I sort of created the website and started getting applications and all. So I would say that's a very slow journey to entrepreneurship. If you are risk averse, if you're like me, I'm actually a very risk averse person, right? Uh, but then there is another route, which is like, which is most entrepreneurs take, which is like you create a cushion, you take like, you keep at least 18 months of runway in your liquid account. And then you say, "Okay, this is the 18 months." So this is what I advise, like have at least 18 months, right? Anything less than that, and you have just given a half-hearted attempt, right? So most of the people I know who have left their jobs and started are into this mindset, like we'll give 18 months, and then like I'm fine with burning that sort of that amount of money on expenses and all, but then we'll go back to jobs and do it, right? So yeah, those are like two ways, and I would say my way is very unconventional, but I also feel that this way is also very foolproof because PMCurve is bootstrapped, PMCurve is profitable. I can actually draw a salary which is like almost equal to what I was drawing before. So all that is like, yeah.
Amazing, amazing, Deepak. I think this is what we really loved about, right? Having that like taking a baby steps, starting from scratch slowly, and finally, when we are in a good state, you went ahead and with doing a full time with the PM curve. And I think a lot of people I spoken to last few years, they also tend to started doing the same thing, like they started working on some MVPs, and
Yeah,
and when they
yeah.
see that, yes, this is a full-fledged product and we have a future in that, there's a product market fit, let's jump into a full-time. And that's a very good and way to get
So there are actually like two
cool.
things I want to mention at this point, because this is
Yeah.
exactly what might be running through viewers' mind, right? One is, and I'm sure like you will subscribe to this because you have been an entrepreneur, you understand like how difficult it is, right? So the first is like the reason I shared the personal story, of like we being a new parent and sort of like Priya getting back to job and me
Yeah.
starting this story. The reason I'm telling this story is because there is not going to be a right time or right moment to actually do it. So
True.
if you feel like I'll just plan it out and this is when I'm going to do it, that is never going to happen, right? It's basically like, scaling. Like there will always be reasons for it and then against it. And one sudden day
Yes.
you're like, okay, I'm in this situation and the scale moves and you'll just jump, right? So that's the reason I said that story. It's never going to be
Yeah,
an ideal situation in which you'll take this call. So don't get fooled by that. Like that's a misconception.
true.
The second is, which you actually rightly mentioned, and I just want to build on that, which is building something on the side. Now, the problem I see when I tell this to a lot of people, they are like, "Hey, what if my company or my boss does not get happy by me doing this?"
Yes.
And my sense is it actually makes you a much better PM. So unless you are trying to make extra money by consulting, which does not make you a better PM, by the way, it just makes you more money. If
Correct.
you're really building something of value, which can take a life form of its own, you are using your mental faculties to the best. There's nothing else you can do which will actually make you a better PM. And which company does not want a PM who is actually like honing their skills on the side and then applying that back to the
Yeah,
job, right? So if it happens at the
absolutely.
expense of your job, I definitely feel ki, okay, you should not do it. But most of the times we have the weekends, we have like couple of hours, 3
Yeah,
days a week and all that, where we can do this. And with Gen AI, it has been very much possible now, right? Like we can literally build a design in 5 minutes if we have the idea. The only blocker is our mindset and how quickly can we think. So I feel like
yeah,
we're in a very unique situation. So thank you for bringing that point. I think it's very important to remove the mental blockage both around, first, like there's never going to be an ideal time, and second,
yes.
like build it on the side first, validate the riskiest hypothesis, and then possibly you'll have more confidence to sort of, and even if you don't succeed, it makes you a much better PM at the job, right? So it's a win-win. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what do you think are some of the alternate career paths post product management, right? A lot of people actually spend a couple of years doing other work like sales, marketing, software development, and then move into product management. But what does the exit look like for product management? One is definitely being a founder, CEO we spoke about. Are there any other exit roles after this?
Yeah. I feel, see, the beauty of being a smart generalist is you'll have a lot of exit options. So another way to put it is like if you can become a founder, like you can become anything. So
True.
usually, like, see, the thing is we are still early in this, especially in India, like we are still early. But I think in US you can see people doing product management for last 25 years. So we can look at like the exit paths they have, add like the current trends, and then you know, uh, try to just simulate
Hmm.
where this is going. And if you simulate where this is going, so one is, I think definitely product management is taking different paths in itself. So we have started seeing industry specific specializations. We have started seeing, three distinct type of PMs, which is like one is a very TPM sort of role. So you are like very close to technical parts of the job. The second is like
Hmm.
you're working with PMM role, which is like marketing. So you can move to like marketing. You can manage both. In fact, one of the best product leaders in India whom I admire much, like Anuj, like he has actually been at the intersection of marketing and product, and is now moving into a GM role, CBO at ClearTrip, right? So you see like
Okay.
Anuj, people like Anuj going into GM role, general manager's role. That is the third role, which is
Hmm.
possibly the epitome and very parallel to a founder role, right? Where you are managing business, you are managing product, you are managing few more teams. You don't manage everything, but you manage like three or four teams, which are good for a smart generalist. So I feel the GM or a founder role within a company, the founder role, BU heads, along with that, even in marketing, you can go and you can become a growth head, business growth or user growth head. And then you can get more technical. You can go and say that I'm going to act as a technical PM, technical evangelist. I'm going to work on deeply technical products. So this is like,
Hmm.
these are the exit options, and they're pretty exciting if you ask me, because all of them are going to have great impact on any organization, and any organization will be happy to have people who have these skills. Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Great to hear that, Deepak. And folks, if you're watching till now, I hope you're enjoying this episode and getting a lot of good, valuable learnings from Deepak himself. So let's move to a quick rapid fire segment, Deepak. And we have few questions for you. I would love to hear some of your very candid response. Are you ready?
Sure. Ready.
Amazing. Okay.
I'm
So
excited.
number one, what is your favorite productivity hack?
Exercise. Like nothing beats exercise.
Amazing.
So
Good.
to move your mind, move your body. Like that's what I teach.
Yeah. Amazing. Best book on product management or entrepreneurship which you have read or you would recommend?
Yeah, so I have read like just full disclosure. I have read like almost 300 books in last decade on
Wow.
business, product management, and all. So it's a hard pick, right? But if I still have to pick, like for PMs, it's going to be Alchemy. Uh,
Okay.
it's written by brand marketing guru. Like he is one of the top most like brand marketing minds across the globe. So Alchemy is the book
Cool.
name. It helps you understand the mental models on how world behaves and works and all that, which is why I love it. For entrepreneurship, it's actually like one of the books I keep reading every year, which is High Output Management by Andy Grove. So Andy Grove
Hmm.
was CEO of Intel, and he wrote this book called High Output
Okay.
Management. Very small book. Even folks who don't read books can actually read that book. It's so good.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. What is one of the biggest misconception you have about being a founder?
So I'll tell you like the misconception that I see and I also had. So usually confident people start companies. So we tend to feel that founding a company makes you more confident. I
Hmm.
would say that's a necessity. You have to be confident. You have to be, eternal optimist, because if you are not, then the company is definitely not succeeding. But more often than not, founders are a lot more endowed than confident. So it's a role that and that
Got
that
it.
you are doubting yourself a lot, even if you are a very confident person before. So that's one thing I've personally experienced, and that's one misconception about being a founder.
Yeah, I think the self-doubt is definitely there and yeah, a lot of misconceptions about it. Yep. One thing you wish you knew before starting PM Curve.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, like, I wish I knew it takes longer than, like, everything takes longer than you plan or expect. Because when you're building things from scratch versus when you're operating in Flipkart, you already have a lot of things figured out, a lot of resources figured out.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right support structure and all. But when you're starting up, when you're building everything from scratch, including who is going to do your taxes and all, I think everything takes longer than you expected. Not to mention that the value you are creating does not exist in the world yet, right? So that also takes longer than you expected because it's unknown, a lot of unknowns in that zone.
Amazing. Okay, and final question, who is your entrepreneurial role model?
Yeah, this one is hard to sort of speak of. The thing is, like, I actually don't. The people I admire a lot, I don't know them personally, so it makes a tough pick.
Yeah,
But if I had to pick, like, I'll pick two people. One from the Indian
sure.
startup ecosystem, Chin Bansal, right? And the reason for picking him is because, like, he literally started up when startups were not sexy, and
Yeah,
even now he is building another company. He does not need to, but he is a builder, right? So I love that about him.
correct.
I've been in Flipkart and I see like the kind of culture and team and the people they created. So it's just amazing. So Sachin, I think in India and outside India, like I have only read and heard about people, but of them, like Patrick Collison is one of my favorite entrepreneurs. And part of the reason is because one, his interests around reading and everything align with mine. So there is some bias around that. But more than that, Stripe has done a lot of things which
Yeah,
are not very conventional, which are very first principle. So possibly, like, we haven't seen that journey of Facebook, because Facebook started in 2004 and we started here, or else I would have gone to like Mark Zuckerberg and Amazon, sort of Bezos and all. But I think like Stripe's journey we have seen, sort of. So yeah, Patrick Collison would be my pick.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks a lot, Deepak, for sharing all this candid responses. Folks, we are towards the end of this podcast. Before that, Deepak, do you have any final valuable learnings or insights which you want to share with the wider audience, be in terms of product management, starting up your new company, career, anything?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, like, figure out the long-term game you are playing, because I feel that is the hardest and possibly the most rewarding thing. That will take away a lot of anxiety in your daily lives, because you have something larger than life to look for. That will add a lot of optimism in your lives, and like, that is also where the competition is lowest, because most people are not playing the long-term game, right? So think like what you're trying to achieve in next 10 years rather than a 2 year, 3 year, 5 year. Like, next promotion does not matter really. So try to sort of figure out your long-term game and sort of try to start playing that in your own way, and I feel you'll be happier for it. That's the hack for happiness and fulfillment. Yeah.
Very true, Deepak. Thank you again for being part of this channel and sharing your insights to the wider audience, product managers and the aspirants and so many other folks viewing this. Folks, thank you again for watching this video. If you loved it, please share and subscribe to the channel and also spread it across your audience. We'll keep you, like, stay tuned and keep watching the channel for any upcoming product management podcast. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, folks, and please subscribe to this channel. And thank you, Sugat, for inviting me and doing this amazing job for product managers. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.